Let's stay with the courts now and move on to another matter. The High Court in Pretoria has reserved judgment in the ANC cadre deployment policy case. You'll remember the DA went to court to have the policy declared unconstitutional and unlawful. It's accusing the ANC of giving its members positions in government based on their loyalty rather than their skills. Our reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones has been following the story. He joins us in studio now. So Pule, you've been watching this play out over 2 days. Judgments reserved. You heard a lot more from the ANC's case and their point of view. What did they have to say?
Well, this is the first of its kind, sadly, where we're seeing one political party taking another to court to try and have one of its policies declared unconstitutional. Of course, this is an application brought by the Democratic Alliance as well, saying the cadre deployment policy should be declared unconstitutional as it violates the law. But today we heard some bit of arguments from the President's legal team as well as those who are representing government, of which Advocate Adila Hassim had a few arguments in which he said that the DA failed to present a convincing case during its testimony, in which he says also that the party wasn't able to prove whether the case is about the policy itself or corruption within the government. And she says that much more should have been presented by the party, in which the government, in instances of abuse, this didn't mean that the policy was unconstitutional. And those are some of the arguments which were brought by the presidency, saying that they had already placed measures in place so far, even now, in the government and of course the public sector, to ensure that this policy isn't abused and that it's not fast-tracked to push for corruption and other mild illnesses within the government sector as well. Just take a listen to what she has to say.
Fact that a policy may be abused, this is a policy of government which we're not dealing with here, is not a cause for a declaration of invalidity. So, quite apart from the fact that this policy is not law, the Constitutional Court has held that where a law is abused, it doesn't follow that the law is unconstitutional.
Did the DA make any further submissions today?
Yeah, it did. They made more submissions, in fact, saying that what they're fundamentally presenting is that this law is unconstitutional and that it does not aim to ensure that there is equality in the workplace, because most of the South African citizens would want to apply for positions within the public sector administration or in the government departments. They will be overlooked due to this policy, and therefore that's why they believe that it should be scrapped in its entirety. They're basing their arguments around the fact that the policy does speak about recommending. However, the DA says the ANC dictates who should head some of these key strategic positions within government and of course within the public sector administration, and therefore they believe that rightfully, after the arguments that they have submitted, the court, or the judgment when handed, will go in their favor. Let's just take a listen to what they have to say.
What this case is about fundamentally is that the cadre deployment policy undermines the rule of law and the Constitution. It does so in a number of ways, including by violating the right to equality, because it favors people who are cadres or loyalists of the ANC above people who are not when they apply for positions in the public service, and in a range of other ways. So I think that that particular critique has been dealt with quite thoroughly. And I think what was also very important is to actually bring before the court the real contents and essence of this policy. And I think most South Africans, if they were to hear what is in the policy and what informs the practice of the cadre deployment committee, would be quite moved to agree with the idea that this cannot be accepted in a constitutional democracy.
The judgment was reserved today. When do you think we're going to get the verdict?
Well, the full bench which heard the matter said that they know and understand that this matter is quite urgent, and therefore they will be giving a decision or judgment on this case soon.